Gone 3-0 on Veterans Day. Air Force will try to do that tonight. And standing in the way is the awfully tall presence of Josh Allen, the elite quarterback, projected to be a first-round pick. And he's got a chance tonight, Tom, perhaps to put up some big numbers to improve upon his junior campaign.
Well, and he just keeps improving as the year goes on. The last 5 games, he's been instrumental in all the wins Wyoming has posted. Last week, of course, in the border war, not putting up great numbers, but a huge win for the Cowpokes.
He's been spinning it beautifully the last couple of weeks. Wyoming's won 4 of 5 to remain in contention to win the Mountain Division of the Mountain West Conference. That weather, it is colder than 45 here. Let's see.
Roy's looking for a snow game.
Let's see what it says here.
I'm not, just for the record.
Let's see here. Well, no. It says 43. Feels colder than that. I drove up and said 39.
I'm looking to be Jimmy Lee's caddy somewhere, somewhere warm.
Coverage on ESPN, brought to you by USAA.
On this Veterans Day, we welcome you to Colorado Springs, home of the Air Force Academy. And Cadet March On as all 40 squadrons take to the field for every home game here inside of Falcon Stadium. It's one of the great traditions in all of college football, and tonight it means a little more. ESPN College Football presented by Dr. Pepper as a part of Veterans Week on ESPN, brought to you by USAA. Here in Colorado Springs, a critical Mountain West Conference clash as Air Force gets set to host Wyoming. Tom Ramsey, Roy Philpott, great to have you with us. It's been a fantastic start on this Veterans Day for the academies. Army defeated Duke earlier this afternoon. Navy held on to defeat SMU. And for the first time in history, a chance for all 3 military academies to go undefeated on Veterans Day. And of course, it's going to happen for Air Force. They got to take down the awfully tall presence of one Josh Allen, Tom, who continues to be one of the top quarterback prospects in the country.
Well, absolutely, and he's really done it in the last 5 games. He's shown his mettle, Roy, and 9 touchdowns, only 3 interceptions. He had a rough start to the year. We'll acknowledge that, but I think he's been lights out the last few weeks. They've had 2 wins in a row. Last week, of course, the big win over Colorado State in the border war, and that was a huge win for Wyoming and the program.
Well, chilly night here in Colorado Springs. Temperatures in the upper 30s, expected to plummet as we go through the night. No threat of inclement weather. What's otherwise been a beautiful day here at the Academy. Well, Wyoming won the coin toss. They deferred to the second half, led by Craig Bohl in his 4th season. 2016 Mountain West Conference Coach of the Year, as the Cowboys won the Mountain Division a season ago. And we're just about set and ready to go into the end zone for the touchback. And the Falcons will take over at their 25 for the first possession of the night. It's been a very eventful day in college football. Upsets across the board. Appears as if Alabama's going to survive on the road at Mississippi State. Will we have some more fireworks here this evening? Arion Worthman leads the charge for Air Force. 5'11", 205-pounder. He's a junior, Tom, and really provided a spark for Air Force a year ago. Was a standout baseball player in high school, and of course he is leading the way with this triple option attack. And the Falcons without a receiver on their first play from scrimmage. Tim McVeigh in motion. Here comes the option. And the keeper by Worthman, far side for a short pickup.
Well, you mentioned the quarterback there, Roy, and Worthman is an awfully good player. Very deceptive, as is the triple option. And I expect him to go inside a lot, use the fullback a lot tonight. Try to find a little bit of a weakness in this Wyoming defense that's just playing lights out the last few weeks.
Air Force leads the Mountain West in scoring. You see the numbers after a gain of 2 on first down. Cowboys with 8 in the box. Inside Gibbs, straight ahead across the 30. It'll be 3rd down and about 5 after a gain of 4.
Well, one thing, if you watch the film from last week, Air Force, of course, got shut out by Army, and Army had 8 and 9 players in the box at any given moment, and they really played a stout defense against the Falcons, and Wyoming's taking a page out of the book. They're just going to say, hey, listen, we're going to stack the box. You're not going to beat us on the inside run game.
Falcons 50% on 3rd down this year, and this will tell us a lot on how this game will begin. Workman with time, now will tuck it and run, and he's got the first down. So a good start for Arion Worthman. After a gain of 8, the drive will continue.
Well, the next best thing to a designed quarterback draw is just a quarterback scramble by Arion Worthman, and he just takes his drop. He sees the coverage downfield, does the next best thing, puts his foot in the ground, and gets the first down.
Bird down the backfield will line up as the running back. Technically a fullback running the triple option. That's 23 in blue. And he'll get the deep handoff. Upended short of the 40 after a gain of 1. Jalen Ortiz with a stop.
Great play by Ortiz. Really great recognition that time. And seeing that inside dive by the fullback, and Ortiz, the trigger, just he sees all of a sudden guard block down, and he comes racing in and just nullifies the dive game.
Tom Falcons have won 3 of their last 4, but were shut out last week against Army 21-0, and it's kind of been that season for a team that lost so many seniors from last year's 10-win squad. 32, in fact. Here comes the option the other way. And Birdow will pick up a couple to make it 3rd down and long. Garrett Crawl brought him down.
Well, Andrew Wingert there too, the strong safety, one of the leading tacklers in the country, 10 tackles a game, and he's running the alley. But Roy, right there, really going back to first down, they're trying to take Air Force out of that rhythm, out of that big first down gain, because Air Force comes in, they're really good on 3rd down. They're over 50%. And just a shade over 50%, but right now a 3rd and 7, it really puts the Falcons into a tough predicament here, because you really want to throw the ball here.
Jacob Stafford lines up right behind Worthman. McVay in motion. Worthman looking down the field, across the middle, and it's picked off. Picked off by Marcus Epps. Epps has it crossing the 30. And finally tagged down short of the 20-yard line. What a stop by the Wyoming defense, and McVay brought him down after a 30-yard return.
Again, credit that Wyoming defense, putting the Falcons in a long yardage 3rd down situation, and Worthman just doesn't see Epps. Epps just all of a sudden appears, jumps into the picture, steals it away from the tight end, Reffett, and Epps making a really nice interception that time, flashes on the ball, and then has a nice return after that.
His 2nd of the season. That's the 25th turnover forced by the Pokes this year. They came into tonight's game tied for 1st in the country in that category. So now our first look at Josh Allen with a pocket and looking downfield. Delivers a dart inside the 10. Pass will be caught by Conway. 1st and goal for the Cowboys.
Well, Josh Allen, again, he was only 50% last week against the Rams in their win against Colorado State. But, Roy, right here, the ball comes out of his hand so fast. And Conway, you're starting to see Josh Allen anticipate the receiver's breaks now, so he's getting the ball out early. And, I mean, he is on target right there.
You said it came out fast. That looked like a fastball from a power pitcher. Allen again with time, looking towards the end zone, caught. Conway tagged short of the goal line. And Kyle Floyd with the stop. It'll be 2nd and goal.
Boy, that ball came out again quick. And I noticed on film last week, even though they had inclement weather up in Laramie in the big win against Colorado State. Get to that in a moment.
Allen straight ahead, stop short.
But
it'll be 3rd and goal.
And Allen's timing has become really good with his receivers, and you can see his confidence. You know, We had Wyoming a couple weeks ago, and they were still trying to find their identity. I think they found it. I think it's all about number 17.
Now he's been running the football more. He'll run some option tonight in all likelihood. And a timeout called by the Cowboys. Well, Wyoming will talk things over with offensive play caller Brent Fegan. Well, you take a look at the importance of this matchup tonight. In the Mountain Division of the Mountain West, Wyoming won this division, breaking a three-way tie a season ago, and the Cowboys need to keep pace with Boise State, Tom, who will get CSU later tonight. For Wyoming's got to win tonight to still have a chance, and also need some help from the Broncos. 2 losses in their final 3 conference games.
The games in November are just so important for conference races, and Wyoming last year, they really didn't end the season the way they wanted to. They ended it with 3 losses. So, Craig Bohl says, we don't want to repeat that. We want to be in the hunt. I talked to him before the game. He said, hey, this game is it's as important as last week's game. And taking a look at both coaches, they know the importance of conference standings right now.
Troy Calhoun in year number 11 lost 10 starters from his defense from last year's squad. Cowboys show a power set. Trey Woods, the converted linebacker, dotting the I. And Woods gets the handoff. Touchdown. And Wyoming strikes first after the interception returned by Marcus Epps. And this is what the Cowboys have been doing the second half of the season, turning people over and then cashing in on said turnovers.
Well, and one thing they feel better about now is they're getting 6 points out of these red zone opportunities, Roy. They come in at 96% effective in the red zone, and Wyoming, I guess their only default there is they've kicked a lot of field goals. Coming away right there, Trey Woods getting over for the touchdown.
Cooper Roth, the Mountain West Conference Special Teams Player of the Week, connects on the PAT. And the second touchdown of the season scored by Trey Woods. It was all set up by the second pick from Marcus Epps. A 24-yard return, and the Cowboys trying to make it 5 out of 6 in business in Colorado Springs. Second interception of the season for the junior from Los Angeles, Marcus Epps. And he sets the Pokes up with great field position. Josh Allen quickly cashing in. The touchdown run by Trey Woods moments ago. McVay from his 5 on the ensuing kickoff. And stops short of the 20. Poor field position for the Falcons to begin their second possession tonight. And Tom, you know as well as I do with triple option football, very important. Get off to a good start. There is a late flag on the field. We'll check the penalty. Kevin Hassel leading our veteran Mountain West officiating crew tonight. It's been such a strange day in college football. I can't wait to hear your updated top 5. I'm going to give you mine as well later on, but we've seen upsets. We've seen teams like Clemson and Alabama survive.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Number 23 of the kicking team. That 15-yard penalty will be added to the end of the return. First down, Airport.
Yeah, the flag on Wyoming's Tim Kamina. And that's a veteran guy there out of Honolulu. Getting flagged. A little roughing after the play.
In the box for the Cowboys again. 2 wide receivers set for Air Force. Worthman under center. A handoff straight ahead for a short pickup. Across the 35 after the penalty for a gain of 3. Gaffon brought him down.
Well, Roy, you mentioned a moment ago how important it is to get off to a fast start. And I think, if you're Air Force, it's not only getting off to a fast start, but it's just getting in rhythm, right, with the triple option. And they're going to get to the ball quick, make their reads, and then try to execute their offense. But it's awfully tough when there's 8 and 9 guys in the box.
Wyoming's interior defensive line has been depleted with injuries this year. Here comes the option. And the near side toss crossing the 40. It'll be 3rd down and less than 2. As Wingard and Granderson brought down the ball carrier, Ronald Cleveland. Boy,
and Granderson has been spectacular this year. That's And I think that's being light on his accomplishments. When he comes off the field, and he's going off right now, I was joking with Scotty Hazelton when we spoke to him this week. I said, boy, you don't never want that guy to come off the field, do you? He said, no, we're a little different, but we have some good guys behind him.
And Birdow straight ahead. Will move the chains. Well, Troy Calhoun, the head coach for the Falcons, told us this week it would be in his best interest, in his program's best interest, for the fullbacks to get more than 20 touches tonight. I mentioned Wyoming's depleted defensive front. Connor Kane's been out since the middle part of the season with an injury. Ja'Varri Jackson is now stepping in for Ravante Holt, who was injured in Wyoming's win last week against Colorado State. We'll see if the Falcons can exploit those personnel deficiencies straight ahead. And crossing midfield, Birdow for a gain of 7. Make that McVay with a carry. And Ja'Varri Jackson with a stop.
And Roy, when you say that, you know, when you want the fullback, as Coach Calhoun said, you know, the fullback position carried 20-plus times. That's a big number for a triple option team. And that right there is an inside power. And it's almost like a dive, but it's with a lead blocker there. McVay doing a great job getting 7 yards and comes in averaging 7.5 yards per carry for his career.
And leads Air Force all time with that number. And Worthman tackled right at the line of scrimmage. No gain on the play on second down. And who else? Carl Granderson leads the Mountain West Conference in tackles for loss this year with 13. Boy, Granderson's story is so interesting. Out of Sacramento, appears to be hurt. Weighed about 185 pounds in high school, was kind of a project player. They needed to develop him once he got on campus in Laramie, and they've done that and then some. Falcons 2 for 3 on third down tonight. Option. They needed 2. Stafford comes up just short. Actually needed a short 3 on that play. Well, fourth down coming up for the Falcons. And this is one of the more difficult aspects of trying to slow down these triple option attacks. They'll go for it a lot of times on fourth down, Tom, and they're thinking about it right here.
I think this is a situation where you actually want to play the field position game and really kick it away here.
75% on fourth down this year. One of the best in the country. McVay in motion. And the inside handoff needed across the 45. The question is, did he get there?
I think on the initial spot, they're not going to give it to him. I think they're going to spot him just short.
And that is correct. So the Cowboys defense holds for the second possession by the Falcons in this game. And Polk's defense has been very impressive this year in the Mountain West, yielding less than 19 points per contest, Tom. Seeing that so far tonight.
Well, the Wyoming defense has they've stepped up to the occasion this season, Roy, and they have put up some great stance. And right there, again, you see them stepping up for the moment and holding Air Force on fourth down.
ESPN College Football is presented by Dr. Pepper, the one fans crave, and in part by USAA. Show your appreciation this Veterans Day using #HonorThroughAction.
The Cadet March on moments ago, shortly before kickoff. Great traditions in all of college football. Chaos ensues afterwards, however, as the 40 squadrons, comprised only of underclassmen, freshmen, and sophomores, try to find their spots inside of Falcon Stadium. So after the turnover on downs, Josh Allen back on the field. Third completion, all to Conway with a stutter step, then ushered out short of the 45 in plus territory after a gain of 9.
Well, just a quick catch of the snap, and then it's a quick throw out to Conway. And Conway, as you mentioned, with his third catch so far tonight, and he's a guy that they just have wanted to get more into the offense, and he's done just that.
A former basketball player in Laramie, redshirted his only season on the hardwood. Fast start for Josh Allen and for the Pokes on the road. Cowboys held serve at home last year against Air Force. Handoff straight ahead. That'll move the chains. And Kellen Overstreet checking in for the first time with a gain of 3. He had the big touchdown last week in snow-covered Laramie, as the Cowboys came back to defeat Colorado State. The offense is in a work in progress, especially on the ground this year, however.
Yep, run game has really been stressed. 103 yards a game. Not a lot. Overstreet, though, really put his foot in the ground last week and made crucial yards in that fourth quarter.
Overstreet inside give here, crosses the 40. Ball may have popped out late, and it did. And Air Force recovers. Kyle Floyd comes out of there with possession of the football, and Overstreet coughs it up, a costly turnover for Wyoming.
Well, and I believe Grant Ross, the inside linebacker, one of the leaders of that defense. Overstreet has the ball, and Ross just puts his helmet right on ball, comes out, and then Kyle Floyd from his safety position comes up and makes the recovery, but just opportunistic football that time by Air Force.
Ross, the lone returning starter from last year's defense for the Falcons. Troy Calhoun telling us several times this week he is our defensive leader, and he leads by example in that last sequence. The Falcons turn it over on downs. Cowboys give it right back. Late pitch on the option, and Burdow is hammered. He's going to lose 2 as Logan Wilson, the Mountain West Conference Freshman of the Year last year, the punishing stop.
Well, I mean, they got 2 great tacklers on that defensive unit. Andrew Wingert, the safety, is one of them, and then Logan Wilson, number 30s. They're equal, but Wilson's the linebacker out of Casper. Roy, he has just played tremendous the last few weeks.
2nd down and 10. Worthman under center. Here comes the option. And the pitch man is brought down at the line. McVeigh went nowhere, and who else? It's Wilson again.
I just think Wilson has been playing his best football the last few weeks. I mean, last week against Colorado State, one of the best really defensive exhibits I've seen all year long by a linebacker. I thought he made just a huge amount of tackles. He had 14. And then, of course, he leads the team with 85, but he's tied right there with Wingert.
14 rushing plays, just 1 pass play for the Falcons. They need 10. Worthman, a stutter step, and upended short of the 45, well short of the first down by Marcus Epps. So Epps with a pick and a big stop on 3rd down, force an Air Force punt.
Well, and now if you're Air Force, you go, okay, we're not going to give them the ball at midfield again. We're going to punt it away, play the field position game, and make Josh Allen and the offense go the distance if they have to.
Charlie Scott, older brother J.K., is at Alabama. His team victorious tonight in Starkville after trailing a good portion of the second half, I might add. Approaching 4 to play in our first quarter as Scott will send a wobbler to Conway, who signals for the fair catch. And the Pokes will take over inside their own 25 when we return.
Well, to play football at the Air Force Academy, it takes a person with great drive, a real care and concern for others, a tremendous sense of courage and sacrifice, and an amazing commitment to be a part of something that's much greater than yourself.
Troy Calhoun, a 1989 graduate of the Academy. We talked with him a lot this week about what that experience was like, and he said, you know, it's tough, and it really molds you into the man that you will ultimately become as Conway takes it end around. A fast start for Austin Conway, 25 and white, the sophomore from Aurora, Colorado. And he said, you know, it's a tough deal to get used to, especially as an underclassman, and you start to appreciate it the further you go along. And even after you graduated, now as a head coach, you appreciate it that much more, Tom.
I think he said the second morning you're waking up at 5:45 a.m. and putting your toothpaste on your toothbrush, it becomes a gut check. And you know, we can laugh about it, but boy, are we happy that people go to the academies, especially the Air Force Academy, and serve our country.
C.J. Johnson makes the grab across the 40. That'll move the sticks. Fedulum brought him down after a gain of 9.
Well, and I think that the staff that Troy Calhoun has put together, got Steve Russ, a former cadet, Super Bowl winner with the Denver Broncos, Super Bowl 32 and 33 with the Broncos, and then Mike Thiessen, the offensive coordinator. He was the MVP of the Silicon Valley Bowl years ago in the year 2000, Mr. Philpott, and I was there.
I think that was a bowl game that you called, in fact. Play action for Allen. Got caught in the mix and brought down short of the 35. Jack Floor got there. Tom, that'll be his 3rd sack of the season.
Well, those two inside linebackers, Floor and Ross, really make a lot of plays for the Air Force Falcons. And, you know, they're guys that just keep coming. And they'll punish you if you make a mistake and you see him read pass. All of a sudden, Floor read and react. Great job. And puts Wyoming in a long yardage second down situation.
It's a loss of 6 yards. 2nd and 16 coming up for the Pokes. Wyoming's won 4 of their last 5 games, going all the way back. Make it 5 of 6. Their overtime win against Hawaii. And Josh Allen sees something he didn't like and will utilize the Cowboys' 2nd timeout. Timeout on the field as we step aside. 2:24 remaining here in a fast-moving first quarter. Off your Week 10 NFL Sunday with a countdown crew starting at 10 a.m. Eastern sharp on ESPN. We'll have all the early breaking stories, injury updates, plus previews of each and every game right up to kickoff. Also streaming live on the ESPN app. And our Week 10 Monday Night Football matchup, a big one. Cam Newton and the Panthers take on the 4-4 Dolphins. Monday Night Countdown kicks off our coverage at 6 Eastern on ESPN. Out of the timeout, Allen will set up the screen, and it goes nowhere. Marquise Griffin with the hit. He read that play perfectly, Tom.
Well, Wyoming's been a good screen team this year, and the tendencies sometimes catch up with you in November. Griffin just reads the play so well and doesn't go for the pump fake and just comes in and lays the wood on Milo Hall.
We've seen less Trey Wood so far tonight, more Milo Hall, and also Kellen Overstreet as Wyoming searches for more of a spark in the backfield. And they'll need it here on 3rd and long. Pocket collapses. Allen goes down. Way back inside his own 15-yard line. Lakota Wills got there first. And that's a loss of 12.
Well, Troy Calhoun told us they were going to bring pressure tonight, and sure enough, that's one way to slow down Josh Allen. Right now, Wyoming in a lot of detached formations on 3rd down. Willis just comes on the inside blitz and makes the hit and the tackle. That's a big play for Air Force.
First punt of the night. Tim Zaleski checking in for the first time. And Cleveland awaiting as it takes a Wyoming bounce all the way inside the 20. You want to talk about flipping the field, that's exactly what a 64-yard punt will do. Now the Falcons this year used to a lot of close calls. We take you back in time some 2 months ago. Loss against San Diego State. 4 lead changes in the 4th quarter, a 4-point setback. Follow that up with a game against Navy, and the Naval Academy hit a game-winning touchdown pass with just 15 seconds left. It was a comeback win against UNLV after trailing by 27. And then Luke Strabel hit the game-winning field goal as time expired against Nevada. A 45-42 win. So the Falcons used to close games, and you know, it really was the case last year when Air Force won 10 games. There was a lot of one-possession affairs in that successful season a year ago as well.
Well, and we talk about it from time to time, and it really weekly. If you get 9 or 10 wins during the season, you got to get lucky in some games.
Worst field position of the night for the Falcons, ahead short of the 20. And McVie tripped up.
Well, going back to that San Diego State game, they lost 3 defensive starters against San Diego State in one game. And they lost a defensive lineman, a linebacker, and a secondary man. And, that's just tough. That's tough sledding.
After the short pickup by McVay, time winding down here in our first quarter. 2nd down and 7. And Birdow straight ahead, brought down by Logan Wilson. Will be 3rd and short upcoming after a pickup of 5.
Well, and just that inside dive game, if you don't stay honest and you don't keep a defender in that box, they're going to get those crucial yards.
Now the big play, the interception by Marcus Epps. 7-0 our score after 1. 2nd pick of the season for number 6 in white. Trey Woods cashed it in seconds later for the touchdown lead here in Colorado Springs. Our score, start of the 2nd quarter back in Colorado Springs. Here inside of Falcon Stadium, ESPN College Football presented by Dr. Pepper as a part of Veterans Week on ESPN, brought to you by USAA. 3rd and short, Birdow straight ahead, will move the chains. Ball popped out late again. We'll see if the Pokes recovered. Wingert got in there, as did Jalen Ortiz.
Yeah, I thought the ball got jarred out and Ortiz fell on the ball. It looked as though Wingert caused the fumble. They're going to review it.
Matt Sumstein, our
play was that the runner was down prior to the ball becoming loose. The previous play is under further review.
Matt Sumstein is our replay official tonight. You hear the wind whipping around there on the playing surface. It's got to be indisputable video evidence, of course, Tom. Tell me what you see.
Well, Wingert comes in. I mean, he really jars. It's away from us. This angle might prove differently. Yeah, ball's out.
That's a fumble.
Ball's out.
And recovered by Ortiz. Wyoming is going to force its 2nd turnover of the night. Assuming replay booth sees the same thing that we are.
Yeah, the ball came out before Birdow hit the ground, and right there, that's just great tackling by Wingert. Logan Wilson right there as well, and Jalen Ortiz, number 8, somehow scrambling to get the ball. He finally falls on it.
Well, Tom, it's an interesting way to win football games because Wyoming was more of an offensive team last year. It lost Brian Hill, all-time leading rusher in school history. Tanner Gentry, the standout receiver, also at star tight end, a couple of offensive linemen. Last year was offense. This year it's been the defense enforcing all of these turnovers. Already one force tonight, and this should be number 2.
After further review, the ball was fumbled, was recovered by the defense. It'll be 1st down at the 34-yard line.
11th fumble recovery of the season by the Cowboys. That's 8th in the country. And a big one right there.
Well, they just keep making plays defensively. And again, I go back to the playmakers, Roy. Andrew Wingert, Logan Wilson, right there. You see turnovers for the season. Number 1 in the country at turnovers gained in the turnover margin. They're number 2 in the country, but that's just huge defense right there.
Maybe a chance to take a shot after the turnover. And Allen off of play action, right on cue. Looking for his tight end, Mayfield, short of the 5, contact, and there's the flag. Kyle Floyd tried to break it up, but not before he committed pass interference.
Well, and it's a great time to go play action. You're in plus territory, and they will tag Flood with the PI. But just a great play call that time by Brent Vegan.
Pass interference. Defense, number 29. It's a 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Results in an automatic first down.
Well, and if you ever want to know what face guarding is, that's pretty much face guarding. When a defender's playing catch up, Mayfield has a step or two on the defender, and you know the ball's thrown. It was late coming out, but he was under duress as he threw. Ball hung up just a little bit, but hung up to their advantage.
Price and Conway to the top of your screen. I formation for the Pokes. Overstreet. Fumbled in the first quarter. We'll pick up 2.5 here. Capra with a stop. 2nd and 8 upcoming.
Nice play on the backside by Capra, just coming down the line. Big number 90 out of Argyle, Texas, and just makes a nice play there. He's one of the bigger defensive linemen at 270.
Air Force undersized this year, having lost those 10 starters from last year's squad. Troy Calhoun basically admitting that to us this week. The proof is on the field as this unit has struggled throughout the season. Play action again for Allen. Delivers a missile down the field. It's caught for the touchdown. Jared Scott, some rare playing time from 18 yards out on the right end of another fastball from Josh Allen.
Well, the big freshman, they keep sneaking Jared Scott in games, and I knew one of these days he would be the #1 target. He's such a big body receiver, 6'6", out of Illinois, and just, you know, gives Josh Allen a big window to throw in that time, and Jared Scott calling it in for the score.
So a perfect start for Josh Allen. 14 points off of 2 Air Force turnovers, and the Pokes out in front early, 14-0. Back in Colorado Springs, 14-0 our score. Ensuing kickoff. Cowboys out in front. McVay toss in the air at the 15, ahead to the 16 after an 11-yard return. An important possession coming up for the Falcons as we take a look back at our Jared, the Galleria of Jewelry Drive recap. All set up initially by that fumble forced by Andrew Wingard, recovered by Jalen Ortiz. Pass interference penalty ensued to put Wyoming in even better field position, and then it was Jared Scott making the catch, the touchdown from 18 yards out to give the Pokes a 2-touchdown advantage on another laser from the right hand of Josh Allen, who, by the way, has started perfect for tonight. Tommy's 6 for 6 through the air.
Well, and whoever's selling the elements for ESPN, right on the mark by Jared, going to Jared Scott. How about that?
Oh, well played. Play action for Worthman. On first down, pocket collapses, and he finally hits the turf at the 12. Gaffon got there, number 93 in white. A sophomore out of Nebraska who has played an integral role with all these injuries in Wyoming's front four.
Well, Gaffon is playing the integral role, but he's also been the conduit for their success in the defensive line. When he's been out of the lineup, they've suffered mightily, but boy, when he's in the lineup, he can shake things up.
That's a loss of 3. 2nd and 13 now for the Falcons. Trying to find their offensive rhythm. Inside give, crossing the 20. As Stafford, the ball carrier, is tackled by Ortiz and Wingard.
Well, they like that fullback dive game because Stafford, he had a great 100-yard game against CSU a few weeks ago in a big win in Fort Collins, and where they won 45-28 several weeks ago, but he busted off a 53-yard run from that inside fullback position.
2 for 6 on third down tonight are the Falcons. Worthman straight ahead, tripped up, and nowhere to run, brought down 3 yards short as Pillapil got there to trip him up.
Well, the ball came out again, Roy, but that time the ground caused the fumble. Worthman did lose it. See, when he hits the ground here, he'll drop it. Pillapil, just a great play coming from that linebacker position.
It's an interesting week in Laramie. Scotty Hazelton, the defensive play caller, and Craig Bohl were asked a lot of questions about trying to slow down Air Force's option attack, comparing it to what Wyoming did against New Mexico some 2 weeks ago. And yes, there were some similarities. And so far tonight, Wyoming seems to have the kryptonite for this triple option Superman team that Air Force can present at times. Timeout on the field.
ESPN College Football, brought to you by Allstate, official protector of college football fans, and Old Spice.
Well, on this Veterans Day, we salute all veterans, both past and present. What better place to be here in Colorado Springs, home of the Academy. The Skydivers bringing in the game ball shortly before kickoff, some 45 minutes ago. Always a great scene. And the Academy's got some work to do, trailing Wyoming 14-0. 12:07 remaining here in our first half. With Tom Ramsey, Roy Philpott. It's been a wild day in college football already. Number 1 Georgia is upended on the road at Auburn as Conway takes it, now wants to toss it. Pass will be brought in plus territory. And some trickeration as Austin Fort hauls it in. After a nice pickup in Conway, pretty good looking toss there. It's a gain of 20.
That is a nice throw by Conway, and getting it out early too.
You love that as a former quarterback, don't you?
I do. He actually got a good spiral on it too. Fort making a nice play, high pointing the ball between defenders, and boy, he's had a nice last few games as well. Austin Fort really showing up for the Cowboys.
Yeah, had a sprained PCL, missed the first part of the year. That's his first catch. It wasn't in the end zone, his 4th of the season. The previous 3 all put 6 on the board as Trey Woods, number 6, reels off a 10-yard scamper. James Jones with a hit, but Wyoming operating and clicking on all cylinders here to begin this one.
Well, and Roy, those are Wyoming's first productive rush yards tonight. Before that carry of 11 yards, they were at 0 yards with the sack of Josh Allen as well, and so they're on the board now for the rush game.
Woods far side, sandwiched between 2 Air Force defenders after a nice gain of 6. Jamel Sanders got there first, the outside linebacker for the Falcons.
Boy, and you said it earlier, partner, just in terms of replacing Brian Hill, the great running back in Wyoming, rushing lore. I mean, having gone, 4,300 yards, 35 touchdowns, I mean, replacing a player of that magnitude was tough, and they just really haven't had that connection at tailback in really what their DNA is, which is really almost 50-50, but they've had to rely on Josh Allen a lot more without a reliable run game.
Kellen Overstreet back in with a crease and a first down. Well, the 4 players lost from that offensive unit from a year ago, all signing on to certain extents to the next level of the National Football League, including Hill. Gentry as well, a tight end and an offensive lineman. That was a gain of 8. So you lose 4 players off one side of the ball in the Mountain West Conference. There's going to be some ground to make up. A tricky looking play, they'll lose a couple as Overstreet had nowhere to run.
Well, and you think about Craig Bohl, you don't want to come in 123rd in the country with 103 yards per game on the ground. You need more out of your run game. And, and he said it to us a couple weeks ago. He said, listen, Brian Hill used to take a ball that, it might look like a 3-yard gain to someone and then break it out the backside for 60 yards and a touchdown. They just haven't had that sort of production this year from the tailback position.
2nd and 12. And Josh Allen will walk to the sideline as Craig Bohl utilized the 3rd and final timeout.
30 seconds duration, 30-second timeout.
Pretty early in the half to burn your 3rd timeout, partner.
Well, you used one down on the goal line. It paid dividends moments later. Another one in the red zone a few minutes ago. So if you're going to use them all, you might as well be productive in doing so. Here's the change in the production. You know, they converted Trey Woods, a linebacker, over to running back shortly before the start of the regular season. Really made his first start and became the featured back on September 23rd against Hawaii. And he's had some moments, but I still believe this Wyoming coaching staff expects more from number 6 as he develops, and you see the names lost from last year's roster.
Yeah, a lot of good players there, and you know, but they've had players starting to step up now, and I think they have found their identity. They're using a lot more multiple tight end sets. Tonight they've been detached a little bit more, using more 3 wide receiver sets. Take a look at James Price there, number 80. He was hurt at the beginning of the year. He had a shoulder injury, came back. Big splash against Hawaii, catching the game winner in OT, and I just think they got to feed him the ball a little bit more too.
On second down, Allen flings it far side, caught. Price has it. Right on cue, shoved out of bounds by Marquise Griffin.
Well, Price is a good route runner. He's a real consistent picture for Josh Allen as a thrower. The other thing I like what Wyoming does, Roy, when they start mixing their tight ends in, when they get into 2 and 3 tight end sets, the tight ends run really well. It makes it difficult for a defense to match up with them, but right now they're staying in the detached 3 wide receiver set.
7th play of this drive on third down. Pokes need 7. Allen with all day to throw, flings it, caught. And the same play yields even bigger results this time to keep the drive alive.
Well, and that time, Air Force rushes 3 players. They drop 8. So they're telling Josh Allen, hey, listen, we're going to try and cover you up here. You're going to have to make a decision. They just don't get any pressure at all. And I think when you have a gunslinger back there that's accurate like Josh Allen, has he missed a pass? I don't believe so.
8 for 8 to start tonight for number 17 in white. High formation, Overstreet, dances, crosses the 5, bullies his way inside the 2. And now the Cowboys starting to feel it. They've won 5 out of 6 and on the road already staked to a 2-touchdown advantage, trying to make it 3.
Yeah, Wyoming, Josh Allen 8 for 8, and then Austin Conway started the drive with a pass, 1 for 1 on the night. Again, knocking on the door to pay dirt.
Cowboys 2 for 2 in the red zone this evening. Overstreet off of left tackle on 2nd and 2. He'll pick up a yard. Wyoming can achieve a first down right at the 1. So an interesting call coming up now for the Cowboys, approaching the halfway point of our second quarter. Tenth play of the drive. Jared Scott, the lone receiver, to the bottom of your screen. And now they'll line up Overstreet as Allen calls his own number. An easy score for number 17. They've used him in the running game more in recent weeks. And a nice play call there for Josh Allen. 20-0 Wyoming.
Well, Troy Calhoun and Steve Russ, the defensive coordinator, both told us how dangerous Josh Allen is as a runner. And what they're able to do there, they do a quick motion with Overstreet. But look at the unbalanced side they have, Roy, and then they pull the backside guard who comes around. Caden Jackson might be their best player, and Josh Allen does a smart thing. He stays on his hips and just gets over for the score.
Well, the 5th rushing touchdown of the season for Allen, and Craig Bohl loves the start for the Pokes on the road.
Players it takes to get Josh Allen into the end zone. The Pokes up 21-0. Count them out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. The 2 big guards come around, pull around, and I mean, that is a massive truckload right there, getting Josh Allen into the end zone.
That's a lot of beef to score the 3rd touchdown of the night. McVay tripped up short of the 20 after a return of 11. don't want to sound like a broken record, but another important possession for the Falcons. Not scored a touchdown in more than 5 quarters. Shutout last week against Army. Held scoreless through the first 15 minutes tonight. And it's been the Josh Allen show thus far, and he has been razor sharp.
He's been really good in that last drive by Wyoming. I think it's one of the best drives of the year. They mixed and matched personnel groups, and Josh Allen still not missing.
Tyler Williams on the field, returning after going through successful knee surgery just over a month ago as Stafford barrels ahead. That's a gain of 8. Williams, number 12 in blue, missed the last couple of games. His senior was anxious to get back. And officially a gain of 9. Worthman, first down. Well, Granderson with a hit. See if the Falcons can muster together some kind of sustained drive, trailing by 21.
Well, and Roy, last week against Army, Worthman throwing the ball 6 of 11, 95 yards, and they had 95 yards rushing as well. One of their lowest outputs of the entire season. Of course, getting goose-egged didn't help, but I think they have to throw the ball tonight. They have 0 passing yards so far, but they got to get it in the air.
Stafford, a short pickup, as we remind you, Tuesday on ESPN. I have the 7th annual State Farm Champions Classic from the United Center in Chicago. You got 4 of the top teams in the country squaring off. Number 1, Duke. Number 2, Michigan State. In the early game at 7 Eastern, it's 5th-ranked Kentucky. Number 4, Kansas. It'll be a great night of hoops, also available streaming live on the ESPN app. For those that missed it, college basketball tipped off last night. And Kentucky was challenged for a while against Utah Valley. Utah Valley had a double-digit lead in the second half. Worthman play action. Guns it, looking for Marcus Bennett. And the pass will be ruled complete, short of the 45. Tyler Hall in coverage. The first completion of the night for the Academy.
It's got to start somewhere. They don't like it being 21-0. I think they might review that. I think that ball might have hit the ground. You also failed to say the juggernaut Utah Valley, right?
Well, they played.
Can I throw that in this early in the season?
They played Kentucky last night. It's got to be indisputable video evidence, and that looks like the ball tapped the turf.
Tapped the ground.
Utah Valley played Kentucky last night and Duke tonight, if you can believe that, and we're semi-competitive in both games. That's a close call.
I like that Bennett raised the ball up and you know, selling it to the referees is part of it, but the video doesn't lie.
Now, this is one of the few times we may differ somewhat. I don't know that that is conclusive, that is indisputable evidence.
I think the ball hit the ground.
That the ball hit the turf. This is the first time this year we disagreed. And there is a bit of subjectivity involved in this, in determining what is indisputable and what is not. One more look. It's an awkward toss from Worthman to begin with. There it appears it did hit the turf.
The pass is incomplete. It will be 3rd and 7 at the 35-yard line. With the game clock operator, please put 5 minutes and 35 seconds on the clock, please.
And for Troy Calhoun, he can't get the kind of rhythm he needs on offense thus far tonight. And that'll negate the first completion of the evening for Worthman.
And that really is part of it, just finding some rhythm, because once this offense starts firing on all cylinders, they're tough to stop.
Falcons 2 of 7 on 3rd down. Option. Worthman with a crease, flag on the field. Ball popped out and Wyoming jumps on it. Well, a lot happening in that sequence. We'll see if Worthman was ruled down initially. No signal yet. Marcus Epps made the recovery, already had interception. It would be the third turnover of the night for Air Force. Well, Wingert stripped it after the stop by Epps initially.
Yeah, there was a lot going on this play. It looks to be a takedown. Definite hold by the interior.
Holding. Offense. That penalty is declined. The result of the play is a fumble recovered by the defense. First down, Wyoming.
Well, the referees, when they congregated, the ball's going to be Wyoming's, but you know, Roy, I think even that one may come back. They're going to review that.
Knee was down, it looked as if, by Arion Worthman. So we've had a couple of plays overturned already this evening. Still, even if Air Force gets it back, it was a holding penalty. And clearly the knee is down. He's got possession of the ball. Wingert as aggressive as ever. No surprise there. But Air Force should get this football back. Well, a busy evening so far for our replay booth led by Matt Sumstein.
Well, and Kevin Hassel, the referee, was asking the other refs. I had my glasses on the referees. Hassel was like, well, was it a fumble or not? And they all kind of looked at each other. I hate to say it, but no one was quite clear in whose ball it was. But upon seeing that, I mean, clearly Worthman's knee is down there, and ball comes out after. Just aggressive play by that Wyoming defense.
It appears as if as well Worthman was short of the line he needed to gain up at the 42. So at that juncture, Wyoming will have a decision to make on whether or not to apply the holding penalty. Then again, Air Force could go for it on 4th and short, trailing by 21.
Well, going back, just mentioning Air Force going 5 quarters into their 6th quarter without scoring, and considering when they came in, last week snapped a 306 game scoring streak. They've been scoring since 1992, partner. 1992.
So the offense has been in a funk. I mean, that's fair to say, being shut out and then now being shut out thus far tonight. And a lot of times, too, with the triple option, it just takes that one play to rejuvenate that spark. It has not happened tonight.
After further review, the ball carrier was down prior to the ball becoming loose. However, the holding penalty will still be enforced. Number 54 of the offense. That's a 10-yard penalty. It'll be 3rd down at the 25-yard line.
Ryan Beveridge, number 64, starting left guard for the Falcons, the guilty party, not 54. So they will enforce the holding penalty. Tom, that'll move the football all the way back to the 25. Third and forever. Worthman with time. Receiver hit the turf. 2 flags on the field. And on 3rd and 17, the drive will likely continue after either a holding penalty or a pass interference against Robert Priester. Marcus Bennett is trying to run loose in the seam.
Pass interference. Defense, number 2. The ball will be placed at the spot of the foul. It results in an automatic first down.
Yep, Priester flagged with the takedown, and Arion Worthman doing a great job getting the ball out that time towards Bennett. And that's a tough situation for Air Force when you get in 3rd down in those long yardage situations. Look out.
Now this game far from over. We've seen teams today rally from 3-score deficits.
Correction, the penalty is 15 yards. The penalty, the foul was in advance of 15 yards. First down.
So a touchdown here before halftime, and the Falcons right back in it. Easier said than done from the 40. Stafford straight ahead, legs churning. And a tsunami of white jerseys bring him down to the 44.
Well, I will say this, Wyoming's defense, they get a lot of hats around the football, and when you try that inside dive game, there are a lot of players with white jerseys around, and again though, it's up to Air Force to get this offense, get a little more up tempo, and just start knocking out some yards.
Option Worthman, nowhere to run, brought down crossing the 47. That's a gain of 2. Gaffon got there first, but Wyoming's been all over this triple option thus far.
Well, and Garrett Krall there making the play, and Carl Granderson comes back in, and that's not good news for Air Force. Granderson has been such an impact player there, playing to the field from that defensive end position.
Inside give, Stafford spun his way short of the mark he needed to get to. Gaffon was right there ready and waiting. Air Force needed to get to midfield, and they're going to be about 2.5 yards short.
And Worthman dropped the ball coming away from center, Roy, and it just throws off the timing. Just such a small amount, but it does throw it off, and they're unable to convert that third down.
Falcons turned it over on 4th down earlier tonight. 75% for the season coming in, and they're going to turn it over again. Gaffon brings down Worthman in the backfield. No gain on the play. And premium field position again for the Cowboys. Johanna Gaffon having himself quite a first half.
Well, twice on 4th down, they don't convert. Gaffon just with a spectacular play again from that inside defensive tackle position. Worthman showing his frustration, and Roy, it's just one of those really tough times for Air Force right now, getting untracked.
You look at the teams that Wyoming has faced this season. Dismantling New Mexico 42-3, ran the triple option. Cowboys have utilized multiple practices going back to spring ball to prepare for these kinds of offenses. Allen gets it back from Conway, heaves it down the field, and it's broken up in triple coverage. A lot happening there as C.J. Johnson was hoping to spring free near the 10. That's the first incompletion of the night for Josh Allen. And he took a shot as well, Tom.
Yeah, Jack Floor, the inside linebacker, kept coming hard, and he comes in and sees the pass back to Allen, and then decides to get into the quarterback a little bit. I like the double pass there.
That's the second time tonight we've seen a little trickery from this Cowboys offense. Overstreet stood up, driven out of bounds. And some late contact as Lakota Wills got involved. No penalty flag. We certainly sense a new breed of confidence for the Cowboys tonight. Tom, we've seen them now. This is the 4th time. I haven't seen a lot of this year, but feeding off an incredible defensive performance and cashing in on all these turnovers.
Yeah, the defense definitely making their mark tonight. Playing very opportunistic. Wyoming 3 of 4 on 3rd down tonight.
Cowboys need 9. Allen passes deflected under heavy pressure. As Santo Coppola got there. And Allen wincing a little bit, getting off the turf.
He got blasted. Again, they brought pressure. They brought extra defenders that time, and bringing the heat a little more than Allen wanted. And Allen really taking shots on the last 2 plays. You see they bring 5 and 1 unaccounted for there from the safety position. That's just good football there by Air Force.
Second punt of the night after 2 straight touchdowns for the Pokes. And Zaleski sends this one into the end zone. 2:32 remaining. Falcons will get it back, trailing big at home.
Number 2 and number 4 versus number 5. One night, 2 blockbuster matchups.
We're back in Colorado Springs. Playoff poll updated Tuesday in between those two sensational college basketball matchups. Tom Ramsey, Roy Philpott moments ago. Josh Allen heading to the tent for a closer look to see if he's okay. And that certainly is an interesting development. Inside give straight ahead, a gain of 10. Logan Wilson with a stop. And a good start for Burdow and the Air Force offense.
Well, they're not going to turn away from the fullback anytime soon. A nice gash up the middle there for the Falcons.
Option. Near side toss. McVeigh brought down to the 35. Logan Wilson again the stop. That's a pickup of 5 yards. And Air Force a couple of timeouts. And 2 minutes to work with here at the end of the first half. The Falcons need some points here.
Wilson with 7 tackles so far tonight.
Burdow tripped up short of the 40. 3rd down and 1 upcoming.
Well, if you're Air Force and you're on schedule, 3rd and 1 sounds about right. You want to be 3rd and very short. You can look at their drive chart. Had a lot of not so good plays.
Burdow will keep the drive alive. About 2 punts, 2 turnovers, and 2 turnovers on down. So essentially 4 turnovers in this first half. Fortunate to only be trailing by 3 scores.
Yeah, coming in averaging 75% on 4th down, 0 for 2 tonight in crucial situations.
Worthman again under center. Will drop back to throw it. And it's incomplete. Bennett, the intended target. Rico Gafford in coverage. 2nd and 10 on the way.
Well, and Air Force just, they still have 0 passing yards. Worthman now 0 for 3 on the night. And it's just, they don't get a lot of practice time, Roy, throwing the football. And that's one of the hardest things as an offense. Coming in, averaging 110, 111 yards a game, passing. You think about, total yards, they really rely on their run game to get it going.
Late toss. Cleveland's got it. Had to corral it. And then sent out of bounds at the 45.
Well, Scotty Hazelton, the defensive coordinator, said one of the things they wanted to accomplish in this week's game is let the sideline make some tackles. And right there, the great inside-out philosophy on defense, pushing them to the sideline. And sure enough, ball carrier runs out of bounds.
1:04 remaining here in the second quarter. Falcons 3 for 9 on 3rd down tonight. Stafford straight ahead will move the chains. So the handoff to the fullback on 3rd and 7 nets 8. The Falcons keep this drive alive.
Remarkable, isn't it? You wouldn't think you'd hand to the fullback ever on a 3rd and 7.
Clock moving. Worthman back to pass. And it's caught in the 25. Making the reception to Rod Sanders, a gain of 22. First pitch and catch tonight. Successfully executed by Air Force.
And Air Force does have 3 timeouts. Sure they'll use one right after this play.
Worthman again to the air. Here comes the pressure. And flings it incomplete. Sanders again the intended target. Granderson got there in a hurry. And Worthman slow to get up.
And with the incomplete, they save a timeout. Worthman again going to Sanders. And, Sanders ran a nice route on the play before, Roy, and just really kept the defender, Gafford, on his backside and protected the ball and made the nice catch.
33 seconds remaining in the first half. And Stafford again nowhere to run. Air Force has to use one of its 3 timeouts.
Timeout. Air Force, your first of the half. This will be a 30-second timeout. 30 seconds. With the game clock operator, please put 30 seconds on the game clock, please. 30 seconds on the clock.
Well, a busy night in college football. Don't forget the ESPN app is a fan's best friend this fall. Stream every ESPN and ABC college football game live at home and, of course, on the go. Plus scores, news, and highlights all season long. Make sure you download the ESPN app to start streaming now. Tell you what, we had it going on before this game kicked off. Watching Alabama, Mississippi State, the end of the Texas A&M New Mexico game, which preceded us here on ESPNU. And it's always fun to track what's happening. Potentially the top 6 teams of the nation. There's going to be a lot of pundits, a lot of different arguments, I think, between now and Tuesday night when the poll comes out again. Don't forget a shakeup in the top 4 coming up at halftime. Chris Cotter, Jonathan Vilma, Chip Kelly will give you the latest. 3rd and 7 here for the Falcons. Worthman down the middle, and it is caught. Touchdown, Air Force. Well, that's one way to do it from 23 yards out. Wagaspack hauled it in. Make that Bennett. It was big tight end in the area. And Carl Granderson appears to be shaken up back at the 32.
Well, Marcus Bennett running the backside post, and Worthman, boy, he spins it in there nicely. And you know, what do you say? You need a lot of reps to throw that backside post? Obviously, Worthman does not. That was a pinpoint pass. Worthman really doing a nice job. A nice drive put together that time by the Falcons.
He's accounted for 23 touchdowns this year. That was his 10th through the air, 13 on the ground. And Marcus Bennett, his 3rd touchdown grab of the season as well. And we got a ball game, and that's exactly what Air Force needed right before halftime. Well, 80 yards and 11 plays. Strable's extra point is true. And our new score, 21-7. Falcons trying to hang tough here at home.
Arion Worthman, little play action into the line, then flips around, gets his feet set, throws the backside post. They beat Rico Gafford. And, you know, that's a great job standing in the pocket and delivering a strike right between the hash marks under the goalpost there. And just a really nice play. Heck of a catch by Marcus Bennett.
Now the first Air Force touchdown in 92 minutes and 47 seconds. And it comes at a much needed time for Arion Worthman in this triple option attack. And Tom, perhaps some newfound confidence now through the air.
Well, Air Force they won the time of possession battle, Roy. 17 minutes to 12 and some change for Wyoming. And you know, they can score quickly, and you see right there, they had to burn one time out, but they got down the field in a hurry. And, you know, Jacob Stafford, the fullback, he got some of the toughest yards I've seen all night running the ball from that fullback position.
Strable's kick through the end zone. And the Cowboys holding on to this 2-touchdown lead with 25 seconds remaining. A reminder of the pictures you're seeing. Air Force 6 Special Operations Squadron here on Veterans Day. The Afghan Air Force Special Mission Wing. USAF worked together with the Afghan Air Force over 6 years in Afghanistan, assisting in training and eventually allowing them to take on the mission themselves. Special thanks to an Air Force Academy alumni for providing the photo. Always great to see our veterans in the present, protecting this great country of ours. And on Veterans Day, some signs of life for the Air Force Academy here at the end of the first half. And for Troy Calhoun, it'll be interesting to see how he motivates the troops during halftime. 21-7 our halftime score. Stick around for the halftime report with Chris Cotter, Jonathan Vilma, Chip Kelly coming up after this break. 6 in white. Second interception of the season. Air Force went on, Tom, to turn it over twice on downs. Fumbled it a couple of times as well. Cowboys defense was stiff.
Well, the defense was playing good. The safeties got into it early. Johanna Gaffon got into it as well. The defensive tackle with 8 tackles, 2 for loss. And then it was Josh Allen. He was quite the difference maker in the first half, going 8 for 8 on his first 8 throws and missed his last 2, but got over for a run touchdown as well. He's been a big factor tonight for the Pokes.
And the 4th time we've seen the Cowboys, by far the sharpest Josh Allen has looked. Tyler Hall scampers across the 25 to begin our 3rd quarter. It's a return of 28. So we take a look at our Taco Bell game track. And how about the Falcons scoring there at the end of the 2nd quarter? First time in more than 92 minutes that's happened. Cowboys leading the country in turnovers forced and punching in those turnovers for 2 touchdowns in the first 30 minutes.
Well, and Roy, I think if Wyoming wants to win this game, they're going to have to find more yards on the ground. They only had 33 rush yards in the first half. They just put too much pressure on Josh Allen. You see total yards 123 to 171.
Deep handoff to Trey Woods. First play from scrimmage. Tripped up short of the 35 by Lakota Wills. It's a gain of 5 and a very productive first half for Josh Allen as you take a look at his numbers. And this is how Wyoming has won football games in the last 45 days. Forcing turnovers on defense. Josh Allen, sometimes the production is pedestrian, but he does exactly what is needed for this team to win football games, and they've won 5 out of 6. Conway now in the slot on 2nd down. Give goes to Woods. Move the chains crossing the 40. Tripped up by Griffin.
Well, and Roy, to your point, Josh Allen, I was talking to Craig Bowl before the game. He said, I mean, our quarterback has put our team on his back. and carried us. And they came away with 2 wins in the last 2 weeks. I mean, 2 weeks ago we saw him against New Mexico. He didn't miss a lot of passes then, 4 touchdowns. Then last week in the border war against Colorado State, I mean, even though he was 10 of 20, it was a Big Ten throws and a lot of yards on the ground, 60 against the Rams.
Overstreet brought down at the line by Grant Ross. Remember, the Falcons returning just 1 starter from last year's defense. That was Grant Ross. He's had himself quite a season, 65 stops. And is one of the leaders for Troy Calhoun's club. So the Cowboys begin this second half with 3 straight running plays.
Yeah, they probably looked at the same stats I did. It said 33 yards rushing.
High formation as Johnson sets up top of the screen. Allen looking his direction. And between the wickets, Johnson could not corral it. Vegelem in coverage. An important 3rd down upcoming. And Allen limps over towards the sideline. After 3 straight incompletions, a new quarterback for Wyoming is Nick Smith. And Allen not feeling 100%. Knocked around at the end of the second quarter. Now Smith has only attempted 2 passes all year.
Prior to the snap, delay of game, offense, 5-yard penalty, remains 3rd down.
Well, Nick Smith, junior from Merritt Island, Florida.
Allen over on the sideline getting worked on. He might be taking a look at his hand.
No contact that we could see in that replay. After the delay of game, 3rd penalty against the Pokes tonight for 35 yards. It'll be 3rd and 15. You have to believe the Cowboys will play this one conservative. And they will. Overstreet. Stop short of the 40. So an interesting turn in this Mountain West Conference football game, a division game at that, as Allen appears to be banged up. And back to the tent for another look. And suddenly, Tom, Air Force with momentum, stopping the Pokes on this first possession of the 3rd quarter. Zaleski dropped the snap. Skid into his mitts. He's fortunate to get it out of there. And after all that's said and done, the ball will be spotted inside the 30, so a punt of 28, what could have been disaster. Now 1st and 10 coming up for the Falcons when we return.
You're watching Veterans Week coverage on ESPN, brought to you by USAA.
Back in Colorado Springs, 21-7 our score. Air Force taking over after forcing Wyoming a dangerous punting situation. The low snap that bounced back to Zaleski. He was able to corral it, then dropped it. Got it out of there for a 28-yard effort. Robert Priester brings down the ball carrier after a 3-yard gain. So Worthman running the option has been held in check thus far. See how this second half unfolds for the Academy.
Well, and it might be without Josh Allen if you're Wyoming.
McVay in the backfield. And a give ahead to the 35. Javari Jackson with a stop after a 2-yard gain. They continue to try to wear out those fullbacks. Burdow and Stafford combined for 19 touches in the first 2 quarters, Tom, and expect a hefty dose here in the second half as well.
Well, when they gave it to Stafford on 3rd and 7 and he got 8 yards, I was pretty impressed with that because normally no one in the country is handed to the fullback on 3rd and 7.
McVay needs to cross the 41. He's brought down just short of the line he needed to get. And the Falcons now 5 of 12 on 3rd down.
Boy, Logan Wilson has been tough inside. 8 total tackles so far tonight. They were 0 for 2 on 4th down in the first half.
Cowboys with 9 in the box on 4th down. Birdow straight ahead, and that'll move the chains.
Well, and Birdow just follows the big right tackle, J.C. Rast. Rast, of course, missed last week's game against Army. Number 77, down block. Birdow right off his hip, good for the first down.
Off the option, Worthman with a running lane, plus territory. And steps out of bounds after a gain of 14.
Boy, there's the triple option at work there, Roy, is that Worthman, you become a bit of a magician there. It appears they're going to go to the right side, and then they spin back, they get a guard pull, they get blocking on the perimeter, and then they run speed option to that perimeter side, and it's hard to defend because you're going out the back door.
Worthman now with 37 yards on the ground on 12 carries. Cleveland in motion. Worthman to the air. Across the middle. Caught. First down, McVay. All the way down to the 10-yard line. Marcus Epps with a stop. That's a gain of 30.
Well, and this is a defensive coordinator's worst nightmare when they start running out the back door with triple option and speed option, and then the Falcons start throwing the ball. And Worthman starts gaining some confidence right there. A nice throw and catch to McVay.
Fullback again, rumbles into the end zone for the Air Force touchdown. And the Falcons right back in it. 2 touchdowns in their last 2 possessions after more than 90 minutes of game time without reaching the end zone, going back to the shutout last week against Army.
Well, you know, if you're Wyoming, you know Air Force is not going to quit. They're going to keep pounding. They're going to keep pounding. And they just give it to the fullback again. Birdow gets inside, delivers 6 points for the Falcons.
4th touchdown of the season for the sophomore from Oklahoma. 69 yards in 7 plays. And we've got a ball game. 21-14, the triple option in effect to begin this 3rd quarter.
ESPN College Football, brought to you by Axe. Find your magic. Add this.
A stirring tribute here on Veterans Day at halftime. The field-sized American flag greeted by a standing ovation here inside of Falcon Stadium. Tom Ramsey, Roy Philpott, great to have you with us tonight. This critical Mountain Division matchup between the Cowboys and the Falcons. And 2 unanswered touchdowns on the board for Air Force after trailing by 21. And if you're just tuning in, Josh Allen, the star quarterback for the Pokes, banged up on their last possession. Here's Hall from his own 5. And Tyler Hall, an explosive returner, twists and turns his way up to the 24. That's a return of 18. And now a very interesting sequence set to unfold before our eyes. Will Josh Allen make his return, or is it the backup Nick Smith? And it appears to be Smith.
Well, I think Josh Allen went to the locker room. He came out of the tent, and I don't see him on the sidelines, Roy. So Nick Smith is going to have his hands full here in the second half.
He's thrown 2 passes all season. And here's Trey Woods on the deep give. Converted linebacker bounces it outside and ushered out at the 25, and some late contact will tack on 15 more.
Well, and Steve Ross, the defensive coordinator, told young Lakota Wills, that's not what you do. No need for that. That's a costly penalty, and just a big error that time, big mental error that time by the linebacker.
Well, Tom, this has been Josh Allen's team for the last 2.5 seasons.
Personal foul. Late hit out of bounds. Number 8 on the defense. 15-yard penalty from the end of the run results in an automatic first down.
Wills, the freshman out of Richland, Washington. And now without their leader on offense, a guy that not only has thrown for all of these scores, but he's run for so many more this year. He's on the bench, and Smith, Little Hughes Jr., got to try to find a way to generate momentum on offense.
Well, Roy, and it does put added pressure. Not having a run game, you're going to have to use your legs if you're Nick Smith.
Hand off to Woods, upended by Wills.
You know, it'd be a different story if they were running for, 200 yards a game. They come into this game rushing for 103 yards per game at 123rd in the nation.
Number 2, the Cowboys still in contention to repeat as Mountain Division winners in the Mountain West Conference. They'll need some help from Boise State. Broncos are trailing big at CSU tonight. So a lot at stake for a team that's already clinched a bowl berth this season for the 2nd straight year. Smith flings it. And it bounces into James Price. Well, it's only the 2nd time in school history the Pokes have become bowl eligible in back-to-back seasons. So remarkable job done by Craig Bowl and company already this year. Now the march to the championship just got a little tougher. 3rd down and 9.
Well, it did get tougher indeed. Nick Smith facing 3rd down. They were 3 of 6 in the first half on 3rd down, and it's a long yardage 3rd down for a young quarterback.
Cowboys 0 for the last 4 through the air. Man-to-man pressure for the Falcons. And the pocket collapses. Down he goes, back inside the 30. Santo Coppola got there, along with James Jones from the secondary. And that's the 3rd Air Force sack of the evening.
Well, they bring 7, and they just bring more hats than what Wyoming has blockers. And Nick Smith just succumbs to the pressure, and it's good coverage downfield, too. They lock up in man, but not a chance that time with the heat they brought.
Air Force offense has found its rhythm after a loss of 9. Zaleski floats this one beautifully inside the 20 and out of bounds near the 12. After a punt of 58 yards, the Falcons take over with a chance to tie it up when we come back. Back in Colorado Springs, Wyoming, holding on to dear life this touchdown advantage with Tom Ramsey, Roy Philpott. Falcons taking over at their own 12-yard line. And if you're just tuning in, Josh Allen has exited this game with an apparent injury. Meanwhile, the Falcons have taken advantage. Last 2 possessions totaling 18 plays, nearly 150 yards, and most importantly, 2 touchdowns. Handoff straight ahead, crossing the 15. And Tom, we mentioned the fullbacks. Burdow or Stafford, pick your poison. They are getting the job done. And Allen got off to a fast start, 8 for his first 8 through the air. And then moments ago, just felt some sort of pain, was wincing there for a few moments before he left the field.
I hate to speculate. It's some apparent arm injury, and that is the what we could see from here, which is, we can only speculate, but boy, they're a different team without Josh Allen.
Lingard tackles Cleveland out of bounds.
Well, the Wyoming defense has kept them in the game. They've played well. They've given the offense a short field and created some turnovers. Both safeties coming up with big plays in the first half. Marcus Epps with an interception. Andrew Wingert jarring a fumble, but one of the last couple drives for Air Force, they have just gone down the field.
McVay in motion, all kinds of time for Worthman. Pass is caught, that'll move the sticks. Bennett, another reception. Caught a touchdown pass in the first half. Gafford in coverage. And all of a sudden, Air Force's triple option offense has sprung to life.
Well, right there, 6 of 13 converting on third down, and that's when that Air Force offense starts rolling. When they start throwing the ball, they have found something, and really they're going back into the short side sometimes. They're faking option to the wide side and reversing and coming out the back door.
After a gain of 16. Little freeze option play, pass is batted down. And Epps tried to get there to pick it off. Alawia got there, was able to get a fingertip on it. Alawia had the game-ending interception in the overtime victory against Hawaii. He's been banged up, but he's also made a ton of plays this year for the Pokes.
That's a nice play by him right there, batting it in the air. And anytime a tip ball, Roy, it's just not good news usually.
10 in the box for the Cowboys. Worthman, sensing pressure, fires a strike. That'll move the chains again. So Marcus Bennett and Arion Worthman developing a nice chemistry. That's a gain of 13.
Well, and Nella Lolohea coming from the defensive end position, really putting a lot of heat that time on Worthman. And that's a good throw with someone right in your face.
Tom, the Cowboys loading up the box, and Worthman just trying to take what the defense is giving him right now. A short pickup by the fullback Burdow again, short of the 50. Give him 4.5 on the carry. One interesting twist and turn rather in this game to see Air Force rally on Veterans Day, no less, after trailing by 21.
Well, when Air Force gets that big gain on first down, watch out.
Worthman, late pitch, McVay sidesteps Wingert into Wyoming territory. Third down upcoming.
Well, you see him run to the sideline. Wingert's running the alley, just misses the tackle, but lo and behold, he's got his trusted buddy right behind him, Logan Wilson, cleaning up. Take a look at Wingert. He comes from that safety position, and really that's just called running the alley. He tries to gets by the blocker, just misses the tackle, but Wilson making a nice play.
Falcons need 4 to keep the drive alive, and Burdow gain 1.5 yards. And Air Force certainly has gone for it often tonight on fourth down, and this time it appears they'll send the punt team on the field.
Well, I think they're at a crucial part of the game, Roy, where they feel confident in their defense. So if you can swing the field in your favor with a nice punt, Troy Calhoun's been in enough games and big games where he knows the field position battle is really going to become important come the fourth quarter.
Charlie Scott will send a wobbler. Took an Air Force bounce and then stopped dead at the 20. 1st and 10 coming up for the Cowboys after a 30-yard punt. Well, don't forget Tuesday on ESPN we'll have the 7th annual State Farm Champions Classic from the United Center in Chicago. 4 of the top teams in the country in action. Number 1 Duke squares off with number 2 Michigan State. 5th ranked Kentucky, 4th ranked Kansas. All of it begins at 7 Eastern, also streaming live on the ESPN app. With Tom Ramsey, Roy Philpott back to live action. Wyoming taking over. And Trey Wood scampers for a pickup of 7.
Boy, and ball security is going to be big for Wyoming here in the second half. Nick Smith with a long toss that time. And Lakota Wills almost tipped it coming off the edge. Man, that was dicey.
Officially a gain of 9. 2nd and short for the backup quarterback, Nick Smith. Josh Allen injured earlier in this quarter. And the drive stays alive as Overstreet caroms across the 30. Capper brought him down.
Well, the one player that Wyoming got back last week, he had been out 3 weeks with an injury, was the right tackle, Alonzo Velasquez, big number 78. They found some running lanes behind him tonight, but he's a big kid. He can move the pile. I think you got to keep running behind big number 78.
Conway, a jump cut, will pick up short yardage. Mentioned this earlier, it's been a great day for the military academies. Big win for Navy against SMU, 43-40. Army defeated Duke as well. And by the way, all three military academies have never gone 3-0 on Veterans Day, so Air Force trying to complete this comeback with a chance to do that tonight. 70th year of the Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs. After the first completion by Smith. Second down and 9 and nowhere to run. Bottled up, driven backwards by Grant Ross. Now Overstreet, Trey Woods, Milo Hall at times tonight. Really none of the Cowboy running backs have been able to get anything going. You see the patch on the front of the U.S., or rather on front of the Air Force jerseys commemorating 70 years.
And this is when the defense starts to anticipate plays, make their reads, and again, bringing pressure on third down is what Air Force wanted to do tonight. The last time on third down, they brought 7 and sacked Smith.
Falcons showing pressure, and here it comes. Smith calls his own number, dropped the football, and was able to get it back. Grant Ross with a stop, and Wyoming fortunate not to cough it up there.
Well, third downs and ball security are going to be huge for Wyoming. They're going to have to find a way to convert on third downs if they want to stay in this game and win it, Roy, and then, just holding on to it. Again, number 44, Grant Ross, the playmaker on defense there to not only make the tackle but jar the ball loose.
Third straight punt for the Cowboys. Zaleski sends it to Cleveland inside his own 20. Well, a punt of 45 yards. Falcons will take over. Poor field position, but still with a chance to tie it up. Now, the one thing I love about my partner, Tom Ramsey, no stone goes left unturned as we take you back to at least an hour or so before kickoff. And talking with the coaches for both sides, both Craig Bohl and also little Josh Allen for the Cowboys. I tell you what, man, Josh Allen and Tom Ramsey developed quite a relationship these last couple of weeks. And it didn't stop there. Offensive play caller.
Funny.
For the Falcons.
You guys are funny.
Mike Thiessen. Little love for Van Manen as well, the fullback.
Well, Van Manen's in the full pod all everything club. I told him so. I said, listen, my partner loves you. He goes, who's your partner? I said, Phil Pod. He said, man, I appreciate it.
This is my favorite one, though.
You know what I'm asking him right there? I want your hat. I said, you got to give me your hat.
And he's got the strong handshake, apparently.
Well, then he says, you want to throw some? I said, no.
Tom Ramsey making the rounds pregame, ladies and gentlemen. Tremendous work as always, my friend. As a pass is caught ahead to the 30. Worthman another completed toss. As Reffett with his first catch of the night, a gain of 9. That'll move the chains.
And I have to say, that's the best part of my day. Besides standing here with you, right? That is a fun to be down on the field, talking ball.
Time winding down in our third quarter. Falcons trying to complete the comeback. Stafford barrels his way across the 35. That's a pickup of 8. Wingard brought him down. And Air Force finding that rhythm again with his triple option.
Timeout for an injured player.
Well, and the fullbacks now with 24 carries between the two of them. Make that 25 carries between Burdow and Stafford.
Epps, the injured Cowboy, had the interception earlier tonight. Make sure you kick off your Week 10 NFL Sunday with a countdown crew. All get started at 10 a.m. Eastern over on ESPN. All the early breaking stories, injury updates, previews of each game right up to kickoff, also streaming live on the ESPN app. Epps appears to be all right. Walked off under his own power. Appeared to have gotten kicked in that sequence. 2nd and 2 for the Falcons. Birdow straight ahead. And that'll keep the drive alive. Ahead to the 46.
That's the end of the third quarter.
A gain of 7 on the final play of our third quarter. 21-14 the score. The Cowboys trying to keep their Mountain West Conference Championship hopes alive. Pepper as a part of Veterans Week on ESPN, brought to you by USAA. Start of our fourth quarter back in Colorado Springs. Score tells you the story. A good one here in the Mountain Division of the Mountain West. Tom Ramsey, Roy Philpott. Wyoming defense has been one of the stories tonight, but Air Force and its triple option attack has caught fire as McVay straight ahead for a short gain, brought down by Gaffon. And now getting word that Josh Allen is going to be out for the rest of this football game. Allen hit a couple of times in the first half. Jack Floor got him at the end of the second quarter on the throwback from Conway, and I don't know that he was ever the same afterwards. Was wincing in pain early in the third before exiting the playing surface.
And he's taken a lot of hits all year long.
Birdow straight ahead into plus territory, brought down to the 45. Chavez Pownell got him after a gain of 6.
And Roy, he's been, you know, we've marveled at his toughness, but after a while, after taking shot after shot, and that was a shot right there by one of the inside linebackers, Floor, and you know, those things, they add up. They add up, and last we saw Josh Allen, he went into the tent on the far sideline.
3rd down and 2 for the Falcons on Veterans Day.
Wyoming, they're first of the second half.
Cowboys will talk it over.
Timeout, 30 seconds.
Well, and I got to give a shout out to my old college roommate, Roy, who suffered a heart attack this past week. Bruce Gordon out at the airport at DIA, and he's on the road to recovery, standing up tonight after triple bypass surgery. So our thoughts and prayers go out to him.
Very good to hear. Well, as always, this time of year, we like to salute all of our nation's veterans, past and present. You take a look at some of the courageous soldiers around the globe, proudly showing off their school pride for the Cowboys. And we thank each and every one of you for your service. Without you, this would not be possible. And on this Veterans Day, really, well, Steve Levy made a great point earlier today in the Clemson, Florida State broadcast. He said every day should be Veterans Day. And I don't know if there have been truer words spoken on our networks on this Saturday.
Yeah, I heard that too. That was right on by Levy.
3rd and 2, Worthman running the option is going to be brought down near the mark at the 45, and he's going to be just short.
Well, you got the W2 brothers, right? Wilson and Wenger just bringing the heat. 4th down, Air Force.
Falcons 1 of 3 on 4th down tonight. 75% for the season coming in. Birdow, old number 23, grinding his way ahead down to the 44. We'll check the spot. And that'll be enough yardage for the 1st down.
Well, and Air Force just keeps clawing, hammering, chiseling away. And the inside run game has just started to turn on for them tonight in the second half.
Worthman back to the air, flings it far side, caught. And shoved out of bounds inside the 35 after a gain of 9 by Jalen Ortiz. Nolan Erickson, first touch of the football tonight.
And partner, I know both of our eyebrows raised when Troy Calhoun said, hey, listen, the longest day we have at practice is a Tuesday. We go for 85 minutes. And we're like, really? Like, That's the largest amount of time, and that is it.
Worthman on second and short picks up the first down. Jackson wrapped him up. And all of a sudden, Arion Worthman, 7 of 12 through the air for a $126 and a touchdown. And after an ice-cold start matching the temperature this evening, Worthman and this Air Force offense have caught fire. You mentioned the 85-minute practice sessions on Tuesdays. Just one of many limitations here at the academy. If you're going to play football, straight ahead goes Stafford. No additional funding for the players on scholarship. Not to mention the early wake-up calls. Troy Calhoun was painting the picture for us. You're waking up, it's 4 o'clock in the morning, brushing your teeth, wondering, what am I doing here? But it all starts to make sense by the time you graduate, as he did in 1989.
I think it's still a head shaker.
Second down and 6. Ball pops out. Cleveland tried to jump on it. Cowboys recover. And Garrett Krall got in there. It's another turnover for the Falcons, and it comes at the perfect time for Wyoming.
Well, the Wyoming defense has come up with several huge turnovers tonight. None bigger than that one. Garrett Krall able to fall on the loose ball. Worthman just unable to handle it. And the ball squirts out. He tries to pull it out from the fullback, and he was going to pitch it to Ronald Cleveland, it appears, and he just lost the handle. Krall right there making a huge play, and Krall in for Carl Granderson, stepping up for the Pokes.
For the Pokes forcing another turnover moments ago, their 27th of the season, and Garrett Krall with a fumble recovery. Third turnover of the night for Air Force. And Arion Worthman not pleased with how this offense has responded. Those turnover sequences. Overstreet spins his way across the 35. And, you know, Tom, an important game for both of these teams. Air Force needs a couple of more wins to become bowl eligible after winning 10 games last year. And for Wyoming, Cowboys have a chance to repeat as Mountain Division champions. Need some help from Boise State. Colorado State providing that so far tonight. And so if Wyoming can hold on here, they'll have a chance later this month, perhaps to repeat as Mountain Division champions. Boise State trying to mount a comeback against CSU. Handoff goes nowhere. Third down upcoming.
Well, there's a lot of good teams in this conference, and you know, in the Mountain and in the West. San Diego State, Fresno State, they lock horns out there, and you know, San Diego State really has been the top dog the last couple of years. Wyoming losing in the Mountain West Championship game last year to San Diego State, and it was after they beat San Diego State up in Laramie. So Craig Bohl knows what it takes, and he knows how important third downs are in this game.
Pokes 0 for 3 on third down in the second half. Nick Smith gets it. And the handoff, that'll move the chains. Nico Evans, a rare carry in the second half of the season, ahead to the 48 after a gain of 12.
Well, the tendency breaker, Roy, when Nico Evans comes in, usually he comes in as a pass protector and not the runner. The exchange is a little dicey. Nick Smith barely getting him the ball, but that's an awfully nice run by Nico Evans on a huge third down.
Clock ticking, snap goes right between the wickets. A flag on the field far side. I don't know that I've ever seen that. Smith under center, and the snap just went right between his legs.
Well, I said it a few moments ago. Ball security and third downs for Wyoming. It will determine their fate here in the fourth quarter.
Ball being snapped. Snap infraction. Offense, number 79. 5-yard penalty, still for first down.
If they don't convert on third downs, you turn the ball over to Air Force, you may not see the ball again because Air Force has the ability to go on those long drives. See, the ball just comes up late. Everyone else moved. Logan Harris, you know, if you're going to tag someone, tag the center.
Diamond formation surrounding Smith. He'll fake it to Conway, looking deep. Seam route, there it is. Trey Woods has it. Far side, brought down inside the 20.
Boy, and Nick Smith stayed patient in the pocket that time and had Trey Woods coming out of the backfield. And Trey Woods, even though he hasn't made huge plays on the ground running the ball, he made a huge catch last week on the same route, little wheel route out of the backfield. And again tonight, nice route, nice catch.
Just his third reception of the season. Scott in motion. After a gain of 38, Overstreet. Well, his body turned on the handoff, brought down to the 15. Grant Ross with a stop. There's a flag on the field as well.
I think the reason his body turned there, Roy, was because he was trying to secure the handoff.
Offside. Defense, number 27, lined up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
Fedulum, the guilty party. Sophomore cornerback.
Well, big break for Wyoming. Here they got a little momentum. Jared Scott, big number 2, who caught a touchdown in the first quarter from Josh Allen. Actually, second quarter he caught the ball. Touchdown. He's down to the near part of the screen.
And some debris on the field near the 20. Heads up play by our veteran officiating crew to stop the play before it got started. Well, first down and 5 with a backup quarterback who's attempted just 2 passes all season long before tonight. Gotta think they're going to try to keep it on the ground here, correct?
Well, you would think, but if you're going to break tendency, you might throw it here.
See if Smith calls his own number and tries to run it. Quick toss ahead to Overstreet. No, it'll be Smith. And only needing 5, he'll pick up 6.
Well, this play is just a replica, just flip the sides of the touchdown that Josh Allen scored earlier in the first half. They overload the right side of the screen with numbers. They got 6 blockers. They pull 2 guards, Roy, and then it's just a quarterback power. Smith does a great job getting behind his blockers and getting enough for the first down.
Longest drive since the second quarter for Wyoming. Power formation, Overstreet tries to bounce it out. Inside the 5, Overstreet, legs churning. Touchdown! What a magnificent run when the Cowboys needed it the most.
That's a big drive by the Cowboys, and it's all started because of the defense and the turnover and the fumble recovery by Garrett Krall. And boy, Overstreet has given them a nice, really a nice punch on that offense. He puts his foot in the ground, and he is a power back and drives over and carries the pile over for the touchdown.
Cooper Roth on for the extra point. Snap was bobbled momentarily, but Roth bangs it through. 67 yards in 6 plays. And with less than 9 minutes to play, Wyoming doubles its lead.
The extra point try is good. Timeout.
Now the Falcons have turned it over 3 times tonight. Pokes have cashed them in for 21 points, the latest from Kalen Overstreet.
Dr. Pepper, the one fans crave. And in part by Allstate, official protector of college football fans.
Now saluting all veterans, both past and present on this Veterans Day inside of Falcon Stadium. A better place to be here in Colorado Springs, home of the Air Force Academy. And a big night for Kellen Overstreet, the sophomore, scoring his 3rd touchdown of the year, the last one coming from 9 yards out on a gritty run. for the Cowboys, who need to win this game tonight to keep their Mountain Division championship hopes alive. McVay inside his own 10, spun around, crossing the 30. McVay, after a 30-yard return, sets up shop for the Falcons. Good field position. Well, you take it back to just a week ago. Laramie, Wyoming, War Memorial Stadium. The snow pouring down on top of Josh Allen and the Pokes offense, and Kellen Overstreet, the big touchdown late in that one after a couple of field goals by Connor Roth. And the Pokes come back to win it. A 69-yard game-winning drive. Under 7 minutes to play. And Craig Bohl said this week that he believes that was Josh Allen's signature moment this season. Allen banged up tonight, but Overstreet trying to make up for some of that lost production on the ground. McVay far side, ushered out short of the 40. And a short pickup. Lolahea got there. It'll bring up 2nd and long.
I did tell Coach Bohl before the game, you want a snow game. You're a little antsy for one. I'm just going to say stick around the Rocky Mountain region, buddy, and you'll have snow in a day or two. I promise you that.
Well, we've been here all fall. I haven't really seen it yet. Next week in Boise, perhaps that'll change. And the pass will be dropped, nearly picked off. Workman had all kinds of time, nothing doing. And that's a play that has to be made for a passing attack that's actually been on point for the last 2 quarters.
Yeah, Cleveland, usually he's pretty good. That ball just bouncing out of his hands, and that is one he has to come down with. Just tip balls, boy, if you're an offensive player, boy, tip balls are just not good. Too many bad things can happen, especially in the plus territory.
Falcons 6 of 15 on 3rd down. Worthman, pocket collapsing. Fires a strike far side. Did he bring it in? He'll rule that a catch near midfield for Marcus Bennett. And there is a flag on the field.
Yeah, they're going to tag the offensive line for Air Force with a takedown hold, and there was a defensive player that just got pulled down, Kevin Prosser.
Offense, number 66. It's a 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. We'll replay again.
Jake Barnhorst, the left tackle, pulling number 42, Kevin Prosser, to the turf, and that was an easy one to see as Barnhorst comes off.
5 penalties tonight for 55 yards against the Falcons. 3rd and 18. McVay will flank Worthman in the backfield. And floats it short, pass is incomplete. Gafford in coverage, Sanders the intended receiver. And the punt team on the field for the Falcons.
Tough down and distance for Air Force there, 3rd and 18. There's just not a lot you can do in minus territory and trying to make something happen. A little credit to their effort. Push the ball down the field. Now you got to be concerned. How many more possessions are you get if you're Air Force?
Troy Calhoun told us this week he wanted his defense to be aggressive and expected to blitz a lot tonight. The backup quarterback, and now with time winding down in the 4th quarter, you have to think he's going to try to play that card. Then again, Wyoming wants to keep it on the ground. Scott will punt it away and booms it to Conway. From his own 18, Conway with a seam. Austin Conway far side. And keeps the play alive. Finally brought down at the 41. There's a flag on the field. And this one likely coming back. And Conway made a couple of nifty moves to put the Cowboys in plus territory.
Yeah, showing great speed there too.
On a 56 yards, a return of 44 for now.
Conway, Denver product, Overland High School in Aurora, not too far away. Oh, that's a nice play by him. Really kept the return going.
Isaiah Scandy may have been flagged for a block in the back.
Yeah, where the flag came out was nowhere near where they were setting up the return.
There are 2 fouls, both by the receiving team. Illegal block in the back, number 20 of the receiving team. That penalty is declined. During the kick, holding, receiving team number 7. That penalty is enforced from the end of the kick. First down, Wyoming.
Chavez Pownell, along with Gandy, the guilty parties. Cowboys take over when we come back. On this Veterans Day, a look at some of the brave men and women from around the world showing their patriotism. This is the week we honor all of America's heroes who have served and who are currently serving in our nation's armed forces. What a place to be here at the Academy in Colorado Springs. Tom Ramsey, Roy Philpott, and we thank each and every one of you watching wherever you may be, and hopefully out of harm's way. Fourth quarter continues. 28-14, Cowboys out in front, and Craig Bohl, the Mountain West Conference player, or rather coach of the year a season ago. Likes what he's seeing from his players tonight. Even with Josh Allen out of the mix, Overstreet dances across the 15 as the Pokes start with their worst field position of the evening. Kyle Floyd with a stop and an injured Air Force player near the 15-yard line. But Tom, for a second, I do want to talk about the outstanding job Craig Bohl has done. He won those national championships at North Dakota State, trying to build the Cowboys program the right way. Won the division last year, eligible now in back-to-back seasons in terms of bowl games for just the second time in school history. And think about the hand that he's been dealt this year, having lost all of those offensive stars from last season. A lot of people criticizing Josh Allen for what he hasn't done. And yet they've kind of morphed their philosophy to be more defensive-oriented. They're going to run Josh Allen if that's what they need to do to win. And even losing him tonight, the backup has come in, directed a scoring drive, and provided this 2-score advantage. A lot of moving parts, and this veteran coach has handled it all about as well as anybody possibly could.
And I think a lot of college programs across the board, Roy, face different challenges. Injuries are one of them. Losing players, underclassmen to the draft is another. And when those things pile up, that's when your coaching acumen really shines through, and also your staff. And I think Craig Bohl has put together a great staff up in Wyoming. He was rewarded as they get a first down here. He was rewarded with a nice contract extension at the end of last year, and well-deserved. And I really believe he's putting his stamp on the Wyoming program. They play an awfully tough brand of football. And something he said to us a couple weeks ago, he said, we want guys that want to be here. And that was after a conversation with Joe Tiller that he had. And that was the one takeaway he had from Joe Tiller, the late Joe Tiller. And I thought that was remarkable. And you and I both kind of nodded when he said it. If he gets the right guys, he can coach them up.
He said, we got to get guys that want to be in Laramie, as Nick Smith calls a timeout. And we want them Cowboy tough. It's a specific kind of player and a certain brand he's trying to build. And he said, you know, the greatest compliment you could pay me in our program is that we are a program. I think he's there. Gargantuan one for both teams. The 4-4 Dolphins take on Cam Newton and the 6-3 Panthers. Monday Night Countdown begins our coverage 6 Eastern over on ESPN. Week 10. What has happened?
Christian McCaffrey went to school right up the road. Little school, Valor Christian.
Top 10 pick by Carolina. And Smith will hand it off to Overstreet. Coppola brought him down. Well, if you're just tuning in, Josh Allen exiting this contest earlier in the third quarter. Was banged up a little bit towards the end of the first half. floor, pummeled him. Appeared to be okay afterwards, even though he was wincing in pain momentarily. This toss in the early stages of the second half was the last play we saw Josh Allen on the field. And he is now out for the rest of this football game. See the numbers? Smith came into this matchup with only 2 passes thrown all year. Had a big one to Trey Woods on a wheel route. Helped set up a Wyoming scoring drive after Air Force had reeled off 14 unanswered. And now a big story in the Mountain West Conference. Its final couple of weeks, the health of Josh Allen as Wyoming is right in the thick of the Mountain Division race. Boise State currently losing to CSU. That'll put them in a tie for first place. Boise State does hold the tiebreaker advantage, having defeated the Pokes up at Albertson Stadium last month.
Yeah, Boise State coming back right now against Colorado State up in Fort Collins, making a run at it.
Boy, in this league, you just never know. I mean, this game changed momentum twice, almost randomly tonight. And really, any of these teams on any given evening are capable of pulling off an upset.
It's the best value in sports, Roy. Buy a ticket to a Mountain West football game. You're going to get 60 minutes of football. That's what you're going to get.
Empty backfield is Smith caroms forward. One quick correction I did mention for the place kicker for Wyoming, the Mountain West Conference Special Teams Player of the Week, Cooper Roth. Incorrectly referred to him as Connor Roth on that last sequence. I want to make sure we correct myself on that. He's had a heck of a year. His Air Force will call a timeout. Updating on scores from around the conference. Colorado State expanding its advantage against Boise State. Mountain Division looks like that. Talking about the importance of this one. Nevada, resounding win against San Jose State. Tanner Mangum lost for the season, but BYU defeats UNLV last night. Fresno State and Hawaii at the half.
Yeah, Fresno State, we had them last week. You know, they're a well-rounded team.
Well coached.
Well coached. Jeff Tedford back at the helm at Fresno State, and you know, he's got a good young staff. We were very impressed with how they went about their business, and yeah, they're going to be a tough foe. I think this Mountain Division, though, you know, Mountain Division, you got, you know, Boise State, Wyoming, Colorado State. There's not a lot of room there to make any mistakes. And Air Force can really become a spoiler tonight against Wyoming, and next week they go up to Boise.
Trey Woods corralled short of the line of scrimmage. Santo Coppola got there for a loss of 2 along with Grant Ross.
Grant Ross, we just continue to call his name. He continues to make plays. He had tied his career best last week against Army. He had 12 tackles, and tonight he's at 11. So he may again get to 12 before this is all said and done.
Falcons out of timeouts as we take a look now at this week's college football playoff rankings, brought to you by Goodyear. Georgia destroyed on the Plains. Number 10 Auburn.
Well, we've all been waiting for. How did today shake out, huh?
Alabama and Clemson both survived. Bama on the road, Clemson at home. A gritty effort by Florida State. Oklahoma and Baker Mayfield unstoppable on offense. Wisconsin finally notches a win against a ranked foe. And Auburn perhaps making a case now to shoot up the list come Tuesday night.
You know, Roy, anytime I hear some of the pundits start glorifying a team, and you know, 2 weeks ago it was Ohio State. Today I heard way too much Georgia in the morning. I like Georgia. I like what Kirby Smart has done, but people were putting them in like the championship game. I'm like, wait a minute, play the game at Auburn. And I said last week, Auburn was going to win that game.
Fourth punt of the second half for Wyoming. Cleveland will call for the fair catch at the 48. Don't want to miss out on what Miami did to Notre Dame, as well as the Hurricanes. Certainly going to be in at least the top 5 when the playoff polls updated Tuesday night. Well, take a look at our picks. Tommy, who do you like?
I like mine. I like mine. That's what I like. You know I've been riding Wisconsin. You said they didn't play anyone. I keep saying, yes, they have. They've been getting after people, and their defense is nails.
We agree on number 1 and number 6.
Yeah.
I like Oklahoma. That offense, unstoppable. The defense, I still have some question marks. Clemson was pedestrian at times today in the win against Florida State, and the U pummeled Notre Dame, 41-8, undefeated at ACC championship game, looking very good on December 2nd. Back to live action. Gerard Sanders makes the grab. It's a gain of 24. Rico Gafford brought him down. And Air Force not going quietly, trailing by 2 scores.
And listen, I love Oklahoma. The fact I got them number 4 doesn't mean that I don't love them.
Well, the interesting component of the Big 12 this year, probably going to have to beat TCU twice. Cleveland with a grab. That'll move the sticks again.
Yeah, I like TCU too, but I was surprised that Gary Patterson, I mean, Lincoln Riley is, boy, he's a good young coach, and Baker Mayfield may be one of the most dynamic players in all of college football this year, without a doubt.
Worthman to the air. Incomplete. Sanders dropped it. Tyler Hall in coverage. Air Force operating with a sense of urgency. Under 5 to play, trailing by 14.
You ever get the feeling when you watch Baker Mayfield, you're kind of watching a video game a little bit? Like, I mean, he's making plays with mirrors.
He has a little Johnny Manziel in
a little bit,
if you watch him. He dances around in the pocket, improvising. Lincoln Riley, an outstanding play caller, of course, taking over for Bob Stoops. Stafford, inside give, down to the 14.
I love that Air Force is staying consistent with the fullback dive game, and Stafford has done a great job tonight.
Third and 6. McVay keeps the play alive at 190 pounds, and the senior brought down short of the 10. And the Falcons will have to go for it on 4th down. Jim McVay wants to be a pilot when he's done here at the academy. He's had quite a career. Play action. Worthman escapes. Middle of the end zone. Incomplete. And the Cowboys defense stands tall on 4th down.
Well, and Tyler Hall, number 9, was looking around. I thought the flag might come out, but the back judge, he said, hey, they're playing football.
Ruling on the field is an incomplete pass. Ball is turned over on downs. First down, Wyoming.
It's a good no call. It's a good no call.
Trying to spot Bennett. What could be the last gasp for Air Force, considering it is out of timeouts.
Well, and you know, Worthman had McVay in the flat right when he faked. Had he just dropped the ball to McVay, they would have had a first down and maybe then some. But he just came off him really quick, and then his eyes went downfield, and McVay was still standing out in the flat, but that never saw him.
Far side run back to the line of scrimmage as Floyd makes the stop. Now Josh Allen on the sidelines, returning but in a sweatsuit. Finished the night 8 of 11. Had the 1 touchdown strike. He was on point. And if you're a fan of the Pokes or college football in general, you hope that this injury will not keep him out any more action the rest of the year. And again, Allen thought to be a first-round pick by many draft experts, including our Tom Ramsey. Perhaps a top 10 or even top 5 pick by the time it's all said and done.
Oh, there'll be teams trading up for him after the last few weeks. You know, and numbers, Roy, numbers don't always tell the whole story. And I mean passing numbers, right? I mean, when you start looking at it, but the measurables and then the intangibles come into play, and he's shown great leadership, and more than anything, his competitive greatness. That was the other thing I was talking to Coach Craig Bowl about Josh Allen. I said, Man, he competed. He's really competed. He said this year, he's taken it to a whole new level, and we've witnessed some of it. So we can vouch for it. But he's been a tough player, timely player, and probably threw the ball tonight early on as well as he's thrown it all year long.
And completed his first 8 passes. With laser-like focus, also ran for a couple of big plays. Josh Allen's been called on to run more this season, but you want to talk about the fastball. He's got it at 6'5", that frame. Surprisingly mobile. A couple of big plays, and then this strike to Jared Scott, his first catch of the season for a touchdown, no less.
Yeah, the accuracy tonight was really impressive early on, and the toughness, we don't doubt him at all.
Less than 2 to play. Zaleski sent it to Cleveland at the 45. And then for the short punt, Air Force will have good field position to return a 5.
You know, Roy, one thing on this Josh Allen coming out of the game and not finishing the game today, it might be a boost for the Wyoming team to know they can win without their best player. I think that gives a team sometimes, and that extra momentum they need going down a stretch drive. Listen, it's a team game, and Josh Allen's been there every step of the way, but he can't do it all.
And the good news for Air Force, their best starting field position of the night. The bad news, it trails by 2 touchdowns. Only 1:46 remaining. Worthman back to the air, looking for McVay, and he bounces it to his senior running back.
No, it's almost the same play they had on 4th down a little bit ago. McVay out in the flat. And if he gets the ball quick, if you hit him in stride, he's got some running room. And again, the ball just coming out to McVay a little bit late. Passing game not something. At least Josh Allen has a smile on his face. I mean, he's not, he doesn't have a sling on, which is good if you're a Pokes fan and you're not at the game tonight. Shame on you. It's just an I-25.
Worthman
too far.
To Stafford. Dives out of bounds. And that'll move the chains.
I like Stafford. I was watching him warm up, the senior out of Shiner, Texas. And, I mean, he's a guy that pays attention to his business. Take a look at what remains for the Pokes. I'd say one hard, one not so hard.
One for Air Force, assuming this score holds. Falcons will need to win their last 2 games to become bowl eligible. A feat that Troy Calhoun told us this week would be monstrous, especially after losing 32 seniors, 10 defensive starters. And the road to hoe will not be an easy one at Boise State next week, Tom, and we'll have that game. And Utah State here in Colorado Springs to close out the regular season.
Well, and we will be there in Boise next week on the Deuce. In Air Force, when you look at that schedule, I mean, yeah, you have Wyoming, Boise State, Utah State. Not 3 easy games, but if they win 2 of 3, they go to the bowl.
Worthman across the middle and nearly picked off. Alawia probably should have had it. He's been active tonight for the Cowboys, 46 in white.
And it's interesting. A couple weeks ago, Brian Harsin told me, he said, no one wants to play Air Force at any time on the schedule. And it's because they're good. They're multi-faceted on offense. Malawia not able to pull it down and gets a tip of the cap by Josh Allen.
He's in good spirits, at least. 3rd down. Worthman needs a bunch in a hurry. Flings it back shoulder, incomplete. Now Sanders has made a couple of big grabs tonight. That was not one of them. Tyler Hall in coverage. Hall may have smacked that one away at the last second.
Tyler Hall's done some great things for Wyoming this year. Been around the ball a lot, made some big plays, kick returns. played corner quite a bit. Boy, they did a nice job last week against Gallup, the great receiver out of CSU. He only had 4 catches and 29 yards.
Falcons 2 of 3 on 4th down in this half. Worthman goes down. Make it 2 of 4, and the Cowboys are going to win this one tonight. Lola Hea got there. The senior from California. 2nd sack of the night. And for Craig Bohl, he's got to feel good about this win.
It really does. I mean, they've gotten really good play out of some second-team guys that don't get a lot of snaps. Lola Hea really has been forced into action. Josh Allen happy with the result.
And how about the Pokes with this win? 6 of their last 7 in the victory column. The lone setback, a loss at Boise State, a game in which they led in the early stages of the 4th quarter. What a job done by Craig Bohl and this coaching staff. Incredible.
Yeah, and that game came down to a couple special teams plays, a couple 3rd down conversions. And that will always make a difference.
Replay of the Alabama-Mississippi State game coming up as soon as we're done here. Gritty effort by the Falcons on Veterans Day. It's been an up and down season after losing 32 seniors. Tonight, at least, we'll finish on a down note. And Wyoming's going to keep its Mountain West Conference Championship hopes alive at least for another week, as the Cowboys improved to 7-3 overall, 5-1 in the Mountain Division of the Mountain West Conference.
Yeah, and as crazy as it sounds, Wyoming will be rooting for Air Force next week, right? When they take on Boise State.
Rams leading Boise State 42-38 as time winds down in Fort Collins, so Cowboys will have their eye on that one. And our final score here tonight, 28-14. Folks defense forcing 3 more turnovers and getting the job done even without Josh Allen for the majority of the second half. For Tom Ramsey, I'm Roy Philpott saying so long from Colorado Springs. Final score tonight, 28-14 as Wyoming improves to 7-3. Good night.